Please don't arrest me. I just got out of prison and I am not trying to go back. I mean, I literally just got out of prison. Please don't arrest me. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show. And today I want to tell you a story of how I almost went back to prison right after getting released from prison. I'm not sure if you call this an after prison show story, a before prison show story. Like, I have no idea what to really call this, but this story takes place literally just a few months after I would be released from prison. And it's about a time when I almost went right back. Now, the crazy thing about this story is this takes place way back in the early days of After Prison Show, before After Prison Show was ever really known, when it was just a twinkle in my daddy's eye. My daddy, that's what my daddy. Oh, Shifley. You know, we really ought to do a follow-up with that guy. And with the fact that this story takes place back in the very early days of After Prison Show, right after I was getting released from serving 7 years, there was actually a video that I made about this story that you guys have never seen. It's only been seen by a very few people, and that's because I made sure that this video went away. Because just a video of me talking about this, I realized probably wasn't a very good thing. And crazily enough, I am gonna share a little bit of that video with you guys here today while telling you this story. But before we go ahead and dive into this story, I do want to take a moment and address the sponsor of this video. An awesome mobile game that just came out called Raid Shadow Legends. Folks, go ahead and forget everything you know about mobile games, because here in 2019 comes one of the most ambitious projects ever. A game that has just been released and is going to change everything. Introducing Raid Shadow Legends. Playing Raid is the most immersive experience you'll ever find on a smartphone. And it can only really be compared with the biggest PC and console titles. And the best part, it's totally free. And folks, I'm actually playing this game on my phone. I mean, take a look at these graphics right here. I haven't seen a mobile game with better graphics than these ever. There's also giant boss fights, player versus player battles, and hundreds of champions, which are the actual characters that you use in this game to collect and customize as well. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I never expected to see this level of performance. I mean, this is a crazy game right here. Out of any type of mobile game, this is probably the best mobile game that I've ever had on my phone. Also, there's a Raid special launch tournament taking place right now and getting pretty big as we speak. So please go to the descriptions of this video and download Raid Shadow Legends for free. And definitely check this game out for yourself. You will not be disappointed. And if you guys use the After Prison Show exclusive link down below in the descriptions, you're gonna get 50,000 silver immediately just for downloading this game. And here's the coolest part. You'll also be automatically entered into their special launch tournament, where you can compete with people like me. I'm not really all that good at games, but you can compete with me and other players for crazy in-game prizes and physical prize packs with collection edition figurines, power banks, t-shirts, and more. And if you guys do win any of these awesome prizes, you're gonna get these things delivered right to your front door. So good luck, and I'll see you there. And again, a very special shout out to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. So, it's with all that being mentioned that what do you say we go ahead and do head first into this video. That was a little much, Joe. I think I tweaked my wrist with the landing there. Folks, again today I want to share with you a story that I guarantee you ain't never heard. Back in the early days of After Prison Show, when After Prison Show could have very well, likely, never even gone any further. Had things gone just a little more south than they were already going, as you're gonna learn with this story I'm getting ready to share with you today. How I almost went back to prison. Pretty much right after prison. You know, I've come to realize that when you get released from prison, it's almost gonna be like dealing with addiction. Now, this might sound crazy. When you think about a person who suffered from addiction and has gotten past that, what they oftentimes say is it's a lifelong battle. A lifetime you're gonna spend battling, trying to remain sober. Well, being a convict or somebody who's been to prison or who has been locked up multiple times in your life, it can kind of be pretty similar to that. Trying to stay out of prison, a lifelong battle. Trying to make sure that you're doing the right thing each and every day. And unfortunately, in this story, This would be a time when I most certainly wasn't doing the right thing, though I would feel like I was justified. You can be the judge when you hear. And this could have ended up very bad for me. Such is the case with a lot of other things that I share with you guys, and I think that really drives home the point that, every day is a battle to stay free. The story takes place a couple of months after my release, and it was during this time when I was still getting adjusted to the world. I don't even remember where I was working during this time. Maybe I had the job at the concrete porn company. I'm not exactly sure. But what I do remember about this time is it was during a particular holiday weekend. And I'm not going to tell you what holiday weekend it was because I don't know what the statutes of limitation are on something like this. And I know there's a lot of people who be hating on me. They'd love to see me go back to prison. So I'm going to try to elude and evade, which is very ironic given what we're getting ready to talk about here, certain details in relation to this story. The story takes place during a particular holiday weekend. I had just recently came home, and a friend of mine would call me up on that Friday, I believe. And this person was a really awesome friend of mine, but they were dealing with some problems of their own. This person had never been locked up before, but they did have a drinking problem. Also had a really good job during this point and was doing really well for themselves, minus this drinking problem that they had. And on this particular Friday of this holiday weekend, when this friend would call me up, they would ask me, "Hey, Joe, what you got planned for this weekend? You trying to go to a casino? You ever been to a casino?" Never been to a casino. Spent much of my time in prison gambling on the prison poker table for tuna pouches and bags of that Keefy coffee. I would love the opportunity to be able to go to a casino, but I ain't got no money to be able to do this. And I told my friend exactly that. Yeah, I would love to be able to go, but I just came home from prison. You know that. And I'm pretty broke. I ain't got near dollar in my pocket right now. So though I would love to be able to go to the casino with you, I can't afford it. That's okay, Joe, because I am such a good friend. Listen to me. How would you like an all-expense paid trip, just you and me, going to a casino? I'm gonna pay for everything. You're gonna pay for everything. I should probably check with my probation first, but forget that. Let's go. Let's go. Folks, the first rule of Fight Club is you never talk about Fight Club. Hence the fact that when I made a video about this and I was still on probation, I made sure, the next day that I made sure this video went away. This friend was offering me the opportunity of a lifetime right after I'd been released home from prison. Taking me to a casino on this holiday weekend. I ain't have nothing better to do. And being willing to pay for everything. Again, I can't speak highly enough of this generous offer that this friend made. And because it was Friday evening and I didn't have enough time to get this cleared with the probation, I just went. Now, folks, when this friend of mine would make this generous offer, there was no way that I could refuse this deal. One, I had never been to a casino before. How could I not take this guy up on this? And he was going to pay for everything. I asked this friend specifically, though, because I did know that he had a drinking problem, but I asked him specifically. When he called me and made this offer, I could tell he had already been drinking. But I said, "Hey, man, how much have you had to drink?" I had a few. Just a few. I'm good, though. I'm good, Joe. I'm going to pay for everything. You're my boy, Blue. You're my boy. Damn it, this friend told me that he was okay to drive. And I was down. My friend would arrive to pick me up and I would get in the car, and no sooner than I would get in the car, I basically opened the door to the passenger side of the car, and when I did so, I saw the open 12-pack of beer right there in the floorboard. There were empty beer cans, not many, maybe like 3. I don't want to make it sound like this guy was absolutely sloshed, because I didn't think that he was. Now I knew, or at least I should have known, that just getting in this car with this dude was a risk. Here's a guy who's been drinking. It's a holiday weekend. I don't want to say what holiday. But for the love of God, you're going to have police out all over the roads looking for situations just like this guy, the guy driving, my homeboy. I should have thought better of it, but I didn't. I wanted to go to this casino. So I got in the car, put my feet around that 12-pack, and we were on the road. Now, I wasn't drinking. That is my good word to the good Lord. I was not drinking. One of us had to be sober for this. Unfortunately, it would be the guy in the passenger seat who didn't have a license. Folks, this would end up being a very long ride to this casino. Something like 3 hours away is how far we had to travel to get to where we were going. And it wasn't shortly after we got on the road that I realized that this friend who I thought wasn't drunk, he was. He was actually pretty decently drunk. And this is evident to me by the fact that, he's kind of swerving. I'm like, "Hey, man, we're all the way over, 2 lanes over. You need to get back in your lane. I thought you told me you wasn't drunk, though." This dude was swerving a little bit, and I'm trying to be extra vigilant because now I feel like I am absolutely responsible. So as we continue to head toward this casino, we haven't even gotten all that far at all. My friend's swerving every so often. I'm having to tell him, correct that. Hey, you need to right them wrongs. We're going to get pulled over. I can't even tell you how many police we passed on the side of the road who were none the wiser to the fact that the guy that just passed them was not only drunk, but drinking still while driving. And it would probably be after we passed, I don't know, the 10th or the 15th cop that I told this guy, I'm like, hey, look, man, you have got to pull over. You got to pull over. Pull this car over. Pull over. Pull over. Right now. And he did. He pulled over in a gas station. I would get an energy drink. I don't even remember what he got. And it was at this point when we're probably an hour down the road, we're pretty far away, where I would do something very stupid. And that was, I would begin to drive. And my rationale and my justification for this was I figured that was the lesser of the two evils. At least I wasn't drunk. Yes, I know. I don't have a license. I've already got 5. Not 1, not 2, not 4, but 5. Driving on a revoked, not even suspended, a revoked license. That means they took my license and they just revoked, up in smoke. That's how gone my license was at this point. And I'm just coming home. I'm only a few months separated from 7 years in prison. But again, I'm thinking to myself, this is the only option. And it probably wasn't, but at the time, that's what I was feeling. I'm going to drive this vehicle, knowing damn well that if we get pulled over, I'm going to jail. And I'm probably going back to prison as well. This was very stupid. If I could go back and change it, yeah, I would like to believe I would make a better decision than this, but this is what happened. Something you guys probably never even knew about. And I hope this also proves like how easily you can find yourself in a stupid situation. Don't be like me, because I was super stupid. I should have never gotten the vehicle when I saw the beer in the floorboard. But I did, because all I was thinking about was the poker table. I begin to drive, and everything is going super smooth. But you know, I'm a very big believer in omens and signs, and also karma. You know, you get certain signs along the ride or along the road, and I mean that like the road of life as well, that kind of show you, hey, you might want to pump the brakes, proverbially, no pun intended, and change what you're doing. And I would get one of those signs and omens immediately upon getting behind the wheel. Wow, I haven't held a steering wheel in over 7 years. Last time I held a steering wheel, I was going to prison. That's probably not a very good thing to be thinking about right now. But no sooner than I would begin driving this guy's car, I would go grab my energy drink. Actually, I need to take that back. It probably was about 10, 15, 20, maybe a little while down the road. I probably only drove for about 30 minutes. But somewhere along the ride, I would grab that energy drink that had been sitting in that center console. At least I thought it had been sitting in that center console for the entire time. But when I take this swig of this energy drink, I look at the guy who's with my friend. I look at him, and he's looking at me. And I'm looking at him. And then I realized that this guy had been dipping with the chewing tobacco. I don't smoke no cigarettes. I don't be smoking no cigarettes. I see that bulge in the front of his lip. He's looking dumb. I'm looking at him just as dumb. I'm dumbfounded. And then it all makes sense to me immediately. This man had been using my energy drink, my Monster energy drink, as a spit can. And I done drank that. Folks, I immediately turned purple. So green. So green, I was purple. I was so sick with this realization. And again, this was a sign. This was an omen when things ain't going correctly, and that's about as wrong as they can get right there, and disgusting. Oh, God. Just thinking about it. I should have realized I needed to pull that car over, call AAA, call somebody. I don't even think I had the Uber app at this point. Call somebody and say, please just come get me, because this is a bad situation that can only get worse. But I wouldn't pull the car over. And unfortunately for me, things were about to get a lot worse. You know, it's funny because as he was driving, and with all the police that we passed, probably 10 or 15, not a one paid any mind to the fact that we were driving down the middle of the road between 2 lanes. But let me get behind the wheel, me with my bad luck, drinking this disgusting Monster energy drink, knowing I ain't got no business to be driving, knowing that if I get caught, I'm going back to prison. It wouldn't be 30 minutes later. Folks, we are on this long, straight stretch, dark, no lights part of road. All we can see are headlights approaching and passing, and I'm just driving with my hands at 10 and 2, seatbelt around my throat. I mean, I'm following the rules of the road, checking my mirrors all so often, when all of a sudden, completely out of the dark, completely out of the pitch black, it wouldn't be headlights that I would see approaching. Folks, it would be blue lights out of nowhere. There was our stretch of road going in this direction, the other stretch of road going in the opposite direction, and a median in the middle, a median that separated those two directions of travel. And these blue lights would cut on. And when I saw these blue lights, these police lights, I understand when I watch cops and, a person gets pulled over after running from the police and the police say, "Why did you run? Why did you run if you wasn't doing nothing wrong?" And that person says because they were scared. Folks, I understand that completely. Because when I saw those blue lights cut on, I don't know why they cut on. I assume they're only cutting on for me. This cop has seen me in this vehicle, hands at 10 and 2, and knows that I'm driving without a license. In the middle of the night, I assume automatically this guy's coming for me. And instead of doing whatever the right thing would have been to do right there, pull over to the side of the road, wait for him to bust that U-turn, come arrest me, that's not what I did at all. And instead, what I would end up doing is as soon as those blue lights cut on from across the street, I floored it. And I was gone. I took off, floored this little Nissan piece of junk car that we were driving in, and pegged this thing and made the next immediate right turn that I could. And no sooner than we made that right turn, I threw the car into park, jumped out of the vehicle, and was ready to start running on foot. And the crazy thing is as soon as I jumped out of the vehicle to begin running, there went the cop right past the road that we had just turned on. And I realize now that that cop did bust that U-turn, but I also didn't realize this at that moment because you couldn't tell me anything right this. I thought maybe he just didn't see that we turned. What I would later realize is, if this guy was actually coming for us, we were caught. Because as soon as I jumped out of the vehicle, he was already passing us. So if he did see where we turned and he was coming for us, we were caught right then and there. And I was going back to jail and probably back to prison as well. But I wasn't thinking about none of that when I saw that cop fly right past us. I was thinking about running, hiding, Navy SEAL, I am a fugitive right now. And I ran slam up into the woods. I'm hiding behind a tree, ducking. I got some shrubs and some brush and I'm trying to use that as camouflage. I'm like SEAL Team 6 when it comes to them blue lights getting cut on. And as I'm in the woods and trying to hide, I realize immediately that I'm not alone. And in fact, my buddy, Mr. Drunk, Mr. DUI in the making, he's right there with me. And I noticed that he doesn't even have any shoes on. He was wearing sandals for this trip and he didn't have any shoes on. This man was bare gills out here. This man was man versus wild. So I look at him and he looks at me and I look down at his feet and I say, "Where your shoes at?" He said, "Man, I ain't got time to be thinking about no shoes. You jumped out that car and ran. I had to run too. You weren't even driving the car. I was the one driving." Folks, to say that my life flashed before my eyes when I saw those blue lights cut on, my free life flashed before my eyes immediately. I floored it. We turned. I jumped out the car. So did my buddy. And had that cop been coming for us, we were done. But for whatever reason, he must have not seen how erratic I was driving. He just kept on going to wherever the heck he was going to. And a couple of minutes later, or maybe 10, 15 minutes later, when we realized that the coast was clear, we would get back in the vehicle and continue on toward this casino. But I'm gonna tell you what, I was not driving. And this little encounter right here, this completely sobered up my buddy. It's funny to think about, no matter how much you've drunk, what kind of stuff will sober you up real quick. And this little run-in, barefoot, police chase, this sobered my buddy up real quick. And he would get us to the casino safe and sound, completely in only our lane of travel. No more swerving, no more recklessness. We got there safe and sound. My buddy pulled out $400 from the ATM. He gave me $200. I blew through that in about 30 minutes. He blew through his $200 in about 30 minutes. And we were done. That was it. My first experience at a casino only lasted about 30 minutes till the money was gone. You walk in here thinking you're going to get rich. And you realize, wow, I never knew $200 could get spent that fast in a place like this. You realize that real quick. But throughout the course of us being in this casino, we would stay in there for a little while, actually for the rest of the night, drinking. We would. To the point where I realized that neither him nor I were okay to try to get home. So we would end up sleeping in the car in the parking lot of the casino. One of the worst nights that I've had since being free. It was hot. It was miserable in this small little compact Nissan Leaf or whatever it was. And the next morning, I would wake up bright and early, ready to get the hell out of here and go home. This experience was horrible. My first time going to a casino wasn't nothing like I expected it to be. I could certainly say that. So when I wake up, I'm trying to wake my buddy up. But it's pretty obvious he hasn't slept that alcohol off yet. And he is still incapacitated. So, again, I would have to get behind the wheel and drive us all the way home. Going down stretches of road where police were sitting on the side of the road, passing every single cop like, you think about what you're doing wrong right when you know it can go wrong. And every time we would pass a cop, I would just think to myself, why did I decide to take this trip? When I saw that beer in the floorboard, I should have just said no. As cliche as that sounds, all of the trouble and all of the potential trouble could have been avoided right then and there. But I didn't. I was blinded by slot machines in my eyes. Ching! Yeah, we didn't hit nothing. We didn't win nothing with that $200. Folks, we would make it home 3 hours later, safe and sound. But that experience that had taken place the night prior could have gone so bad. So bad. And I don't know what was with me or how to explain why it didn't go so bad. Maybe the bail bondsman angels were with me that night. I have no idea. But that was most certainly a situation that could have caused me to go back to prison when I had just a few months prior been released from prison. And I share this story with you hoping that there's a point to all of this. And what I hope that point is that every day out here in the free world, out here in society, you need to really work hard. Some days might be easier than others, but there's certainly going to be days that are harder than most, where you need to really make sure that you're making the right decision. Because it just takes one wrong decision and everything can go horribly wrong. And you can end up back in a place you've been trying to avoid for however long that you have been. I also said at the beginning of this that I was going to share with you a little of the video that you guys had never seen where I first addressed this story. And I'm going to do that right now. And folks, brace yourself for one of the first ever stories that I ever told here on YouTube, and probably also something pretty cringe as well.
2 hours into the ride, his driving becomes so erratic that I finally say, you have got to pull this car over right now. Just pull it over. Pull it over. He pulls the car over. We're at the gas station. We're putting gas in the car. It has now become apparent that I am going to have to drive the last leg of this journey because he is absolutely, completely impaired and is not going to be able to do this without risking our lives and freedom and possibly the lives of others. I am not supposed to be driving. There's no way in hell I'm supposed to be behind the wheel of a car. Not anytime. But what do? I get behind the wheel. Now, the first thing that happens is the most disgusting thing you could ever imagine in your life, but this really did happen, and it's not really the way that you want to start off risking your life doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. But as I get behind the wheel of the car, I had an energy drink that was sitting in the center console. I go to take a sip of my energy drink, and for whatever reason, I can't understand it, but this energy drink tastes absolutely disgusting and minty, and I'm like, what the? My buddy says, you probably shouldn't drink that.
My oh my, we've certainly come a long way since then. Hey look, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment, letting me know exactly what you thought about it. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace!